So I think in terms of our public and audience output, hopefully over the next few years we'll start to really plan how we're going to address issues around empire and conquest in the main narrative that we tell downstairs, how that sits alongside a really broadening of the stories we tell in terms of class and gender and all of those subjects. Really, so recognising that the museum needs to tell these stories and address these issues if we are going to remain relevant to both the serving corps of Royal Engineers and our civilian and wider public audience as well. Internally and on the workforce, I think the project has had the impact of actually it's pushed us to have the conversation, hasn't it? And really given us the confidence to start talking and start planning on how we can look at the next steps. One of the most tangible impacts is that we're recognised as an organisation that is quite open to having that conversation now, and that's quite powerful. So in terms of continuing the work in the future, as we've already said, one of the kind of long-term outcomes from the project will be a change to the museum's permanent galleries around the Sudan War.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, when we had the visitors in and they flagged the words that we were using, that's definitely something that I think we can take as almost a small step to start looking at the rest of the galleries. And it's discussions that I've obviously had with the collections team and volunteers that we have working for us, discussing about how we're looking at language in our records and how to work with the challenge in language and how we reference that and how we perhaps change it. But it's definitely what I want to look at going forward. I think it's something that we can do. Obviously, we'd love to go through and change our entire Victorian galleries straight away, but we just don't have the funding for that. Whereas looking at language in object labels and on the catalogue is something that we can do relatively quickly and also makes quite a great impact.